So they're asking us to find B. We don't want to go looking for B. Good job, Ellen. We don't want to go looking for B. We want to ignore B, do something that is familiar. Do something that is familiar instead. So somebody propose something that we can do that would seem logical, even though we're just going to ignore the fact that we're looking for B. Let's go, Matt.
We can make a sign chart
Of what?
of y prime, finding points of inflection.
Oh, so the thought is a really good one. You just made a mistake in your memory. Somebody help me.
Can we draw a picture first?
It never hurts. This time I do have to draw a different picture. Like I can't draw this one, my favorite picture, because I'm trying to show a point of inflection. So I'd have to do, I could do something like this, maybe that would, because there's a point of inflection there. I like where Max is going, but he just didn't remember something. Somebody else help? Ellie looks like she wants to help.
Wait, what did Max say?
He said we should make a sign chart. And then I said of what, and he said y prime.
Oh.
Because we want to look for the inflection point, and that's where he just made a mistake in his memory.
Okay.
Tell me, go ahead.
Point of inflection, you need to find y double prime.
Right. That's where I went when I solved this problem, because I remembered that I'm supposed to ignore B, I'm supposed to focus on something else. And I'm like, oh, well, if the problem had simply said find the point of inflection, I would have found the second derivative. They love to do this on the AP test. They love to make you do things backwards. So instead of asking you to find the point of inflection, they give it to you. It's right there. So again, just do familiar things. Like just pretend you've got to find it. And that's how we end up finding B. So, question.
Would we solve for y prime first, then find derivative of that, right?
Perfect. Yeah, no other way to get to y double prime than what Kiani just said. Find y prime first, then find y double prime. So I need to volunteer somebody new to speak. The more you talk, the more you learn. Good job. Good job.
So do y prime equals 3x squared plus, what would you think for a? Like if it's the derivative of ax?
Perfect. You have to remember A is a constant.
Yeah.
So A
So
doesn't
pull
do
it
anything,
out.
it just kind of comes along.
Yeah, so just a times 2x
Nicely done.
plus bx minus 4.
So be careful here.
Oh, it would just be b.
Does that make
right?
sense?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you don't do the product rule for those?
Yeah.
You can, it's a waste of time. Because they're just constants anyway. Just keep using that multiplying constant rule.
So if there's a constant, you just take out the constant and then provide them.
Yeah, because that's the multiplying technique.
If we did that, wouldn't we get a different answer because we'd get x squared and then we'd get 2x?
No, because like if you're doing this and you use the product rule, you're going to say I take x squared and multiply by the derivative of a. That makes sense?
Yes.
But a is a constant.
Right.
So what's the derivative of a constant?
Itself. 0.
0. So this becomes 0.
Oh, wait, sorry, how, I understand how getting confused now. Why, what's the difference between that and it being y?
So constant means a has one value, like maybe a is 5.
Okay.
In the problems we work, x and y represent an infinite number of different values.
That's where I was confused.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good work. So, does anyone need to talk about y prime? Oh, you're up. Y double prime.
Okay. So yeah, the y double prime equals 3 times 2x plus, and then for this one you do the product rule.
Same thing, multiplying constant again.
So you would just be able to bring out the a and the 2, right?
Because
So
they're
it'd
just
be-
constant.
Yeah, so it'd just be a times 2.
That's it.
That's it.
Good work.
It wouldn't be plus b?
What's that?
It wouldn't be plus b.
B is a constant.
Yeah.
So what's the derivative of any constant?
Oh, I didn't know that. Zero?
Good? Good question. Is that feel okay, Maddie?
Yeah.
Good work. Anybody else? Okay, so we did something familiar. Just got to keep doing familiar things. So, Ellie.
I don't know what you do now.
So don't think about this problem. Think about, again, I was helping somebody today and I said something that seemed to help this student. I said, look, you've got to make sure, like when we're working a problem, we're doing this work for the problem, but we need to keep drawing upon the fundamental ideas to do this. I feel like you caught a kid. Don't, that was a decent joke.
That was a good joke.
Okay, right? So don't think here very much. Think over here, like fundamentals. Like, we're trying to find a point of inflection. So if you were actually finding a point of inflection, what would you now do with this y double prime?
You make a graph of it?
You want to make a sign chart, because we don't have ability to graph really.
Yeah.
But before we can make a sign chart, what's the first thing we got to do before we sign chart y prime? Y double prime. Got to factor. Yeah, I still need somebody to make me a nice sign that says if you don't factor, you'll fail. Oh, it's right here. Amanda already did it. If you forget to factor, you fail. So Ellie, you're back up.
Okay.
How does it
So,
factor?
what do you do? 2 parentheses 3x plus 8.
Let's do that. Any questions? Now what? You're just doing familiar things, please.
You use sign chart now.
So yep. So what's the first step of making the sign chart?
Figure out what values would equal 0.
And here's where
Or no.
you're doing fine, Brock. You really are. You're doing fine. Just learn to speak a bit more specifically. Like I want you to say, find the values of x, which make y double prime 0.
Yeah.
Just the specific will help. I promise you'll get a better score, guaranteed. So what's the value of x, Brock, that makes y double prime 0?
Well, would it be negative a over 3?
Nicely done. We did Sammy's solution. Sammy's going to make me a sign. I'm a sign beggar. Sorry if you haven't noticed. Question? Okay, now we need to, okay, in AP problems, you often need to do something, then look at the whole problem again and see how it helped.
Okay, so there's a point of inflection at 1, comma negative 6, so x equals 1, and it should be 0, so that should equal 1, so a should be negative 3.
Nicely done.
And then you can plug that into the whole equation and get b.
Nicely done.
So I mean, okay.
Isaac, hooray for Sammy, but wait!
At x equals 0, y is not 0. No, at x equals 1, y is not 0.
Y isn't 0, but y double prime is.
How? If you plug it in for x, it doesn't equal 0.
Let's keep talking, you'll see it, you'll see it. So you're okay that we have y double prime, right?
Yeah.
Good. If, again, the goal here is to ignore the constants and think of something more familiar. Well, a much more familiar problem, which you've done in the homework, is they give you a formula for some curve, and they say, go find the inflection point of that curve, right?
Right.
And we said, well, if I were doing that, what I would have done is I would have found the formula for y double prime.
Yeah.
Once I had the formula for y double prime, I would make a sign chart of my y double prime.
Right.
With me? So we said we need to factor y double prime. Get to there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did your method. You and Sammy did this last time. You said, oh, I need to figure out what will cause this to equal 0. So instead of doing it in our head, we wrote it down. And we figured out that when x has a value of a over 3, f, y double prime will be 0. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, one of the habits you need for the AP test is the habit of you do some work and then you reread the problem to see how your work helped. So what Sammy noticed was, hey, they told me the point of inflection is at x equal 1. So that's got to be right here.
Oh, because point of inflection means where?
Y double prime does what? Well, it doesn't mean 0. It really means where y double prime changes positive to negative.
So don't you need to see whether or not it changes from positive to negative?
Try this. If A is exactly that one's kind of implied. It's like they told us there's an inflection point. They told us there is. So right here, it's either got to go like this, or it's got to go like this. Like I don't really have to test this one because I already know there's an inflection point there. It's a weird problem. Does that help at all?
Yeah.
Anybody else want to talk? So that allowed us to find the value of A. Now you stop again, good habit. You reread the problem and try to see if you can now figure out how to find B. Sammy already saw it. Can you else see? Max knows. Go. Christine knows. Rock.
Well, do you plug in 1, -6, and A? Okay, but when I did that, I got stuck.
Oh, no worries. We'll get there in a second. No worries.
I don't know.
It goes back to, like I did the Karate Kid thing a minute ago, right? Like working the problem fundamentals. Okay, the first thing I told you day one of this class is, when you see a function like this, an equation, you have to remember that's for finding x, y pairs. Plug in an x, get a y, plug in a y, get an x. But they already gave you the x and the y. So we can use that to write this. When y is -6, x is 1. We already figured out a was -3. We don't know b. We get that?
Yeah, I got that. I
It's-
just realized that I
You're
actually looked.
finding a mistake.
Yeah.
Look, everybody, I keep telling you, just gotta get good at using the equal sign. It's like, what is equal to what? Well, in that equation, when you plug in a y equal -6, you have to get a x that is 1. So that's why I'm allowed to do this. Plus, I now know a. I'm just using the equal sign again. So, question? If you're not seeing it, you just gotta talk to me.
Hold on, would you, do you just do +4 on both sides then?
What's the goal at this point, Ellie?
Trying to find B.
So add 4. What do you get?
Yeah. So then it would be -2 equals 1 plus 9.
Oh, no. Do that one again.
Oh, it would just be -3. Oh, okay, that's what I did wrong. And then just plus B.
Keep going, Ellie.
And then you do -2. So then it's just -4. Wait.
Wait is good.
1 second. Oh, it's +2, so that's 0.
Plus 2. What's 1 plus -3?
Yeah, 1 minus 3 is
Is-
-2.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, because we did plus
You are thinking ahead of what you were saying. So what's B then?
0.
There we go.
Okay. I got 3.
B?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
That's why I'm getting
Did you find your error?
-6 plus 4
Is?
stuck.
is -2.
Yep.
And then you could do -1
1
Minus one?
negative 1 equals negative 6 plus b times 1.
Whoa, whoa.
Or would you just combine